Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us for this week's Thursday with AARP Wisconsin. I'm Amber Miller, your host. And just as a friendly reminder, please always remember to check the AARP Wisconsin website for additional information, which also includes volunteer opportunities. You can find that information below at aarp.org/WI. And also, please remember community connections, AARP community connections. If you go to the website below, you'll find some information about volunteer opportunities within your area or volunteer opportunities that you can actually put together in your area. You'll also find information about the AARP Friendly Voice Initiative, and all of that information can be found below at aarpcommunityconnections.org, or you can call 1-888-281-0145. We're also looking for volunteers to join the AARP Wisconsin family. So if you're interested in volunteering with us for outreach, advocacy, and other opportunities, you can go to the website below for additional information, which is aarp.org/I-want to volunteer. So the number 2, volunteer, and you can find additional information, including the application. So we're very excited to have our guest with us today. And hold on just one moment. So we are joined today by Reverend Greg Lewis, who is the founder of Souls to the Polls MKE, which is a nonprofit based here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So Reverend, we're going to bring you up. Okay. Oh, hi, Reverend. And you're on mute, but so good to have you. And I think I see, is it Anita in the back?
Hi, Amber.
Nice to see you, Anita. And thank you so much, Reverend Lewis, for joining us. I know you were just coming from a meeting, so we so appreciate your time with us. So Reverend Lewis, can you talk just a little bit about Souls to the Polls MKE? Just tell us a little bit of the history and how was it founded? I know you're one of the founders. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we back in 2012, it was during the governor recall. We had a visitor come to town. It was Valerie Jarrett, and she visited our meeting and spoke. And at that time, we found out that we could vote early on Sundays. And we said, wow, we can vote early on Sundays. We need to call that Souls to the Polls. And that's how we got started doing Souls to the Polls. And it's really just getting folks to be aware of when, where, why, how, what you need to know about voting. You know, we don't support a candidate or a party. We just want to give people as much information about voting and registration to vote as we can. And it was just a great opportunity to enlighten our community on the power that they really possess. And everybody should, take advantage of your right to vote. You should be trying to make decisions about who you'd like to support and who you could help put in place to look out for your interests. Mm-hmm. And, so what we do is we educate and we give information and we let people, go at it. We don't tell them what to do. We just make sure that they get all the vital information that they need to do what needs to be done. So, we can have folks join in a process that is for everyone. Mm-hmm. And so we got started back in 2012, and it comes out of our organization, Pastors United, and it happened to be the civic engagement wing of our organization. So now, the Souls to the Polls is really just taken over because we've been so very active and successful in getting folks out to vote. So now, we do that year round now. We do all these things year round. So, everything is happening right now with this mayoral
Yeah, and actually, Reverend, that's a great segue. I know we're really excited, AARP Wisconsin, to work with Souls to the Polls Milwaukee on the upcoming mayoral race. As you were talking about, some of our viewers are not within the Milwaukee area, but of course we know there's also going to be an upcoming election in the fall for governor. But Reverend, what do you think is the biggest barriers to voting for residents within the city of Milwaukee?
Well, right now, just really knowing that there's an election, Amber. I mean, some folks, I can give you a shocking statistic. We had an organization out in California do a survey asking people in our community that they know there was going to be a mayoral election. And they asked 25,000 people, and 92% of them didn't know there was going to be an election. Information is the biggest obstacle to getting folks out to vote right now. And then not only that, the past and now present, suppressive obstacles that are being put in front of everyone is quite depressing. Let me put it to you like that, because it's discouraging for folks who, first of all, just don't trust the system. And that's about everybody. That's just about everybody right now. Well, we don't trust the system. The votes, weren't counted right. People were voting, who shouldn't have been. See, all these things. And then you have all the other added obstacles. And those two are the biggest right now, Amber, for me. I mean, just the knowledge that there's going to be a vote, and then people trying to stop you from voting. And I just want to say this, we did a lot of this getting out the vote in the last presidential election, and we talked to a lot of people from Europe, and especially folks from the Netherlands. And what I found out is that if you don't vote in the Netherlands, they give you a ticket. I mean, I don't know if that's right either, or if that's fair either, but you don't vote, you get a ticket, Amber. If you don't vote, they ticket you. Here, they try to suppress and try to provide so many obstacles for people not to vote. And that's just a huge difference. And in a democracy, it shouldn't be that way. We ought to be, it should be as simple as this. I could go to the store, ask for a ballot, drop that ballot in the ballot box, and somebody will come and pick it up later, and we all get to vote. We should make it as easy as possible, but it's not. So those are the biggest two obstacles, to make a long story short.
And Reverend Lewis, I've learned, over especially the past few weeks about all the goodness that Souls to the Polls does. And I know one of the things that you guys do is transportation. You guys offer rides. If you could talk a little bit about that and how you felt like that's like a big need within the city of Milwaukee, the transportation piece to the polls.
Yes, because, some disability, older voters, they don't have any way to get down the street. And we provide the transportation during these times. And it's actually quite a sophisticated, organized manner in which we do it. We go into a basement of one of the churches, and we have these boards of clients and locations and all those kind of things. And we kind of time them out during the day, and people call in also. But it looks like a big war room when we do our transportation. And, whoever needs a ride, we'll provide that ride. I don't care how far away your voting poll is or how close it is. Sometimes people just can't make their way to those polling places. And we make sure that will not be an excuse for you not voting during these voting seasons, during these voting dates and times. So that is so very important, Amber, because most of the people who really vote are older people. And they really, and once it gets dark, 7, 8 o'clock, they can't walk to these polling
Correct.
places. 6 o'clock, they don't want to walk to the polling places. They don't want to walk in, and I don't think they should have to. So we provide those folks with rides.
Great. And Reverend, before we get to some questions, I also just want to tell our viewers that if you're also interested in some additional information about the upcoming elections, there's a couple of different things that AARP Wisconsin will be providing. One is you can actually text. This is a little bit newer this year. So you can text WI votes, so WIVOTES to 22777, and it's going to give you a link text back to you that you can click to find information on upcoming elections and also what you need to bring with you in order to vote. You can also go to the AARP Wisconsin website, which is aarp.org/WI votes. So Wisconsin votes, abbreviated, but you can find some additional information there. So Reverend Lewis, we're going to take a live question. So Darren, we have one from Arlene. So Arlene turned in just a little bit late, but is Pastors United just in Milwaukee? It sounds like a great organization to replicate.
Yeah, and you know what? That is such a timely question because we're about to take an endeavor to go into Racine, Kenosha, Green Bay, Appleton, and Beloit. We're about to go into all those cities and try to make it statewide. And we'd like to be going into other states. But, Amber, I got to tell you and tell the person who asked the question, money is a lot of the issues when you try to expand, and we just don't have the kind of funding that it would take to really go into other places. And one of these days, I think that's going to change. I just think God will be good to us, and we'll be able to go and help folks organize themselves in communities all over this country and getting out the vote and making sure that we have a secure method of doing it with folks who are really wanting to be a part of the process, really just don't know how to be a part of the process, and sometimes don't even know when the process is in effect. So, we'd love to do that. We'd love to go, but we're going to go to these other cities to answer that question, and we're going to eventually expand to other states.
Great. And Darren, if we could pull up Lisa. So Lisa's asking, what would you say to people who think their vote doesn't matter? And I know we get this quite a bit saying, why do I even have to vote? It doesn't matter. What are your thoughts on that, Reverend Lewis?
Well, first of all, I would say this. There have been elections where the winner has won by a 1-vote margin. So every vote counts. And then there's this. If your vote doesn't matter, if your vote doesn't count, why are people spending so much time making sure you don't vote? I mean, that just doesn't make sense. It's just logical for you to understand that, some folks who are in power want to keep that power, and they don't want you to change anything that's happening right now because they want to continue to, rule over what, where, how, when you should move, think, but they work for us. We don't work for them. They work for us. And we need to be letting them know what our needs are, and they need to be looking out for our interests. Your vote certainly counts. I can tell you, listen, Wisconsin was a blue state, and it was less than or around 20,000 votes. So don't tell me that your vote doesn't count, because it does. Every vote counted in the last presidential election, and every vote is going to count in most elections if there's a really tough race, so you definitely have the power, and you have the, and this is what I want people to understand. You have that power every time there's an election. If everybody took the attitude that my vote doesn't count, then who would be running our cities? Who would be running our states? Who would be running our country? That decision should be yours.
Correct.
I think your vote counts enormously.
Absolutely. And Reverend, we have one other question. You're a popular man today. So this is from Jim. What are some of the ways you can get information about the candidates and voters' options to your parishioners? Can AARP help with that effort?
Yeah, you know what? AARP is, I'm so pleased to be partnering with them, getting out this vote. I mean, it's so much integrity in the organization, and hopefully they feel the same way about us, because I just think they get things done, and we sure do. But there's one thing I know that you can do. You can get in contact with the League of Women Voters. They always have this extensive list of candidates and information that you can go to when you want to really make a decision, a solid decision about who you want to represent you. And I believe that AARP has information available for folks who, Amber, am I correct?
You are, yep, you are correct. Yep, it's the aarp.org/WI votes. But Reverend, I want to say too that I echo about the comments that you made about working with us, as working with Souls to the Polls has just been an amazing experience. We know this is just the first step into a bigger collaboration. Reverend, if our viewers right now are looking, and I love that you're going to be expanding throughout the state. So if our viewers right now are outside the Milwaukee area, what would you say to them, about going to the website? What if they want to get involved or volunteer? What comments would you give to them?
Well, I tell you, go to the website, and you could go to our Facebook page also. But the website is Souls to the Polls MKE.com. Simple as that. Souls to the Polls, all one word, Souls to the Polls MKE.com. And you can get all the information you need there. And we certainly would love for you to get involved and help us to make some kind of decisions and help us plan and serve the people who really need these services. Because in this day and time, and I'm not just talking about Black folks, Amber, I'm talking about all of us, Black, brown, white folks. I'm talking about our brothers and sisters who are Oriental and Indian. I'm talking about all of us. We need to get the proper information to make decisions concerning our lives. This is a time where lots of people are really having a mistrusting attitude about our federal government, especially. And that trickles down to our state and local governments also. Listen, we have the greatest country in the world, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I just want to remind everybody, we still live in the greatest country in the world. Tell me where there is another country as great as America, and I'll move there. But there's not one. So, we need to continue to have faith in what we're doing here. And, are there a few things that we need to plug in to kind of, make shifts here and there? Of course, nothing's perfect, but together we can get it as great as it can, as great as we can, but we have to do it together. So if you're going to get in touch with us, please go to, it's www.soulstothepolls.mke.com. And we certainly would really employ all the resources that you can bring to, help us understand how we make our country, our state, and our city and communities a better place.
And Reverend, I just got one last question for you that actually came through email. What are your tips for using absentee ballots? If you could talk a little bit about that. I know some people are like, do I need a signature? Do I need a witness? Would you mind talking a little bit about that?
Oh, that is going to be such a huge, huge issue this coming election, because the state Supreme Court has banned spreading those absentee ballot boxes around. So you can't, first of all, you can't mail those things out in the last minute. As soon as you get it, as soon as you make your decision, put that absentee ballot together and mail it. Now, as far as, it's really a simple process, Amber. All you do is you have to put your information on the mailing envelope. You don't even need a stamp. Put your information on the mailing envelope, and you have to have a witness. You have to have a witness. And that witness can be in your home, your next door neighbor, your husband, your wife, an adult in the home. It can be, just have to have a witness. And make sure that you sign it as a witness. You have to sign it and make sure that you fill out all the proper spaces as a voter. And that's going to be very important because they're going to scrutinize every absentee ballot. As a matter of fact, there's a chance that in the future, you may have to have a doctor's excuse just to have an absentee ballot. So those absentee ballots are so very important. And folks out there, I can't emphasize this enough. When you get that ballot, as soon as you make your decision, fill that ballot out, put it in that envelope, get you a witness and mail it, because you won't have the occasion to be a last minute mail-in voter. Now, I think in each one of the districts, there's going to be at least one ballot box. For instance, in Milwaukee, our ballot box is on Broadway at the Zeidler building. You can go there and you can, well, let me correct that. I think it's in City Hall at the commissioner's building, the voting commissioner's office. Yeah, let me make sure that I get that right. So we only have one. We used to have them in the libraries, and we could have them at other spaces. We wanted to have one at the Pfizer Forum. All those opportunities have been eliminated due to it being denied by our state Supreme Court. And that's another reason why you need to vote, because we need to have a Supreme Court that has the wisdom to make sure we have ballot boxes. If you don't vote for anything else, vote.
I mean, this is we always, we hear that people want their voice to be heard. And one of the ways to do it is voting, whether you're a first time voter or maybe you haven't voted. I know in the last presidential election, the last time my mom voted was for the when Jimmy Carter was running, and I encouraged her. I'm like, I don't care who you vote for, but Mom, you need to vote. It's so important. And so all of our viewers right now, and making sure that people feel empowered to have the resources and information in order to know how to vote is so important. And Reverend, I want to thank you so much for being here today. If you could plug your website one more time for Souls to the Polls, because I want to make sure people go visit it.
www.soulstothepolls.mke.com.
.org.
.org. Is it .org?
It is .org.
Oh, thank you, Amber. You can
it's
see how
.org.
.org. www. Now you're making me mess up here. www.soulstothepolls.mke.org. That's what I said in the first place, Amber.
You know what? We're going to agree to say that it was org. And Reverend, it's always a joy to just talk with you. And you're so passionate, not only about the city of Milwaukee, but just people getting out to vote is very important. And we're so glad to have this collaboration with you. So I wanted to thank you so much again for joining us today.
Well, you know what, Amber? I am so very, very fortunate that we met one another and had a chance to have that conversation. And that's what needs to happen all over this state. We need to have these conversations. We need to meet each other, things in common more than we have differences. I'll tell you that right now. And I want to thank AARP for their patience with a small little organization like ours and taking up the opportunity with you. Has just been fantastic, Amber.
You guys are small but very mighty. The impact that you guys make is something that a lot of organizations strive for. So thank you again, Reverend, and we'll talk very soon.
Yes, and my wife Annette wanted to say hi. Annette Bass.
Yeah.
She did you didn't know who it was? This is my wife. Look, I got a wife, Amber. That's Annette.
Amber. Hi, Annette. Oh my gosh, Annette, I was thinking about you. I will contact you. So this is it's a small world. I know Annette from my former world.
There you go. Right. Thank you, Amber.
So nice to see you. Okay, thank you, lovely people, and I will see you very soon. Thank you. So thank you. That was a little reunion. So for upcoming events, you could check out. There is Friday, so tomorrow, movies for grown-ups. There's The Invisible Warrior Tuesday, tips and resources to help reduce your debt, Wednesday the 16th. There's another movies for grown-ups, Bansky and the Rise of the Outlaw Art, March 22nd. There's going to be a live trivia, virtual trivia. And then Wednesday the 23rd, we will be working with the Milwaukee County Historical Society on How Dry I Am, Milwaukee Prohibition. So hopefully you can join us next week for that. Small dollar, big impact, of course, the application is due March 15th. If you are a municipality, nonprofit, or similar that has a really cool out-of-the-box idea to impact your community, you can apply for up to $1,000 grant. You can go to aarp.org/WISDBI for additional information and also the application. So for next week's show, it is Brain Awareness Week. So we're going to be talking with our friends from the Alzheimer's Association, Wisconsin chapter. You can join us for that live show back here on our Facebook.com page or our YouTube page, March 17th at noon. So I want to thank everybody again for joining us today. I definitely encourage you once again to support one another to ensure that we have as much information as we can about voter education. Just a friendly reminder, you can text AARP, which is our text Wisconsin votes to 22777 to receive additional information from AARP Wisconsin on voter information, or go to aarp.org/WIVOTES Wisconsin votes. And please also share this video onto your social media. So I want to thank everybody again for joining us today, and we look